The Oklahoma City Thunder select Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga University.
What a pass. Giddy underneath for JRE. The reverse and the rookie-to-rookie action. SGA defended closely by Westbrook. Tough. Step back. Gets up the shot. Banks it in for the lead.
This is Udart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested, aka a couple of hacks on their podcast. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. I've got Justin with me tonight.
Hello, everybody.
We've got Nick Crane.
This is the week that the Oklahoma City Thunder reached 500 for the first time since they were 4-4.
Dude.
Nick's already coming in hot.
Yeah, he is.
I love
it.
I mean, look at the schedule. We'll talk about the week upcoming and give our bets and stuff, but like this feels very, very, very doable.
Can't disagree. Tayler will be joining us shortly. The Kansas City Chiefs just punched their ticket to the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
And so I'm not quite sure what that man is doing. I don't want to know what he's doing.
Probably streaking through the neighborhood if I had to guess.
It's pretty cold out there, man. It's like a solid 10 with the wind chill. So shout out to Tayler. But he will be with us shortly. We are brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network and dailythunder.com. Carrie's asking how smashed is Tayler right now. That is a great question.
We'll give him some hard names to pronounce. It's already bad when he's sober.
All right, you hacks. You ready to talk some basketball?
Always. Can we talk about David and Nwaba and his contributions to the Thunder?
Yeah. Is he a trade piece, Nick? Nick,
He's salary filler, huh?
You're the one that dove into this for us. I people who don't follow us on Twitter don't know what we're talking about. Will you give them the TLDR real quick?
I'm not going to name names because we don't do that. There was a podcast that referred to another podcast that did a trade assets pod. And there's been many, like I'm sure we're not the only ones. But whoever did that pod that they listened to said a few hacks were doing this podcast. And a few seconds later, they were talking about David Nwaba being a trade chip to be a salary filler for a trade. So
incredible.
I think you could
know who's in the league.
But we're the hacks.
Correct.
I guess you could say we did get dunked on.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus.
There it is.
You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
All right, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Turns out Oklahoma City Thunder, pretty damn good basketball team.
Who knew?
Two very exciting games this week. One against the Atlanta Hawks, where the Thunder didn't play any defense and lost. And then one against the Cleveland Cavaliers without their defensive ace in Lou Dort, and they win. Very impressive win. There's been a lot of talk among Thunder fans. You get on Twitter. I don't dare get on like any Thunder Facebook fan pages. That seems like a really bad plan. But you look like on Reddit, people, you listen to podcasts that think the Thunder can trade David Nwaba, or just other podcast like NBA podcasts in general. People are talking about, should the Thunder be buyers at the trade deadline? Is it time to push the gas down to the floor? Should they go all in? I think everyone on this show, we're kind of in agreement that they're not going to do anything this deadline. I want to ask you guys, though, when do they push the gas down? At what point do they say, we're going for the championship? And it's full speed ahead. Is it this summer? Is it a year from now's trade deadline? Is it a year and a half from now, whenever they're in like the draft and free agency in 2024? Is it farther than that? Am I just an idiot? And are they going to go get OG Anunoby in, 9 days?
It's a boring answer, but the answer is when the time is right and the opportunity presents itself.
Boo.
What a cop-out.
I mean, like, of all GMs, the most patient of them all is Sam Presti. If this trade deadline presents the opportunity to get a guy that's on the timeline on a good deal that you can control for a long time for the right price, Presti would do it. Like, I think across the board, most people covering the team would say the Thunder likely will do nothing or something marginal at the deadline. But if something comes up and it's like, this is not something we can pass up on, Presti would absolutely do it. If it's not pressing the button too early or accelerating things or hindering the outlook of the team long-term, like a big risk, like, he would do it. Do I think that opportunity is going to present itself at the trade deadline? No. Could it happen this offseason? Sure. Could it happen next trade deadline? Sure. Could it be 2024? Also, sure. Like, it wouldn't shock me if this team even played it out all of next year and had a whole year to see what Chet looks like before making a splash. Because arguably, you don't want to make a huge move for like a Donovan Mitchell until you see what this team looks like with Chet, because you don't know what your deficiencies are and where you need to add the asset to get better to get you to that final stage of a contender, until you see maybe your second most important piece, if not the first most important piece, play a season with the guys you have. Bingo. So the answer is, when the time's right and the deal is sweet, Sam Presti loves having the leverage. He's not going to take a deal where he's on the bottom, and we don't know when that is.
I agree. I was the second part of your answer is where my head was at. I think you have to see Chet on the floor with this group before you make any big decisions. Obviously, if something like incredible falls into his lap, he's going to take it because he's not an idiot. But I don't know if it's a full season. Maybe it's 20 games. Maybe it's 40 games. Maybe we're talking trade deadline next year about a big move the Thunder could make. I think you have to see Chet on the floor. You probably have to see whoever the Thunder get in next year's draft on the floor as well. But obviously, Chet being the linchpin of this thing, you're not going to make the splashy, use the Donovan Mitchell example. Like what the Cavs did to get Donovan Mitchell, you're not doing that this summer before you see Chet. Because what if you pull a Timberwolves and you trade all those assets for a pick that just makes absolutely no sense on the floor together? Like, that's a real possibility. So I think there's got to be a little bit of patience, but it definitely feels like, to play off your metaphor, Jacob, the Thunder are starting to accelerate. They're merging onto the highway. They're off the access road. They're merging on. Sam Presti's a good driver. He's got his left blinker on. He's checking over his shoulder, but we're not quite on yet.
I think that's fair. I think a few different pieces of information that maybe alter the answer to this a little bit. First one, this summer, the Thunder will have a lot of cap space. Not a max contract amount of cap space, but a lot of dead money comes off the books, right? So I think that is a big point, because that money's going to be like, use it or lose it, because like this summer, Poku is extension eligible. I mean, like, I don't know what an extension looks like for Poku, but they can lock him up, right? You have so that next season you have that money, but once 2024 hits, that's the summer that Giddey is extension eligible. And if you ask me, like, at the trajectory right now, does Giddey get a max in the summer of 2024? A max extension? Or
not only that, but that's also the summer you have 3 first rounders or 4 first rounders. So like it goes beyond, is this guy worth a contract? I probably lean more, give a guy a contract so you can trade him later for something versus letting him walk, like in a Poku situation. Bailey's a different story. But you have to think about that too. Like, you not only have to sign Giddey, you got to roster guys as well.
100%. Right. And it's just fascinating to me. Like, Presti is not a guy to let any sort of asset go to waste. I think having 25 to 30 million in cap space this summer is an asset. Now, how does he utilize that? Is it they finally do the take on the Tobias Harris contract for a couple of picks? Or is it we want to go make a trade and we can bring a guy into our cap space? We can get a $30 million guy by trading away a $5 million player and draft picks. We can get in I don't know, who makes 30 mil? A Pascal Siakam for trading Trey Mann and 4 firsts, or Ousmane Dieng and 4 firsts. Like that type of deal can be facilitated this summer. I wonder how they utilize that asset of that cap space. But I think I'm with you guys. You have to give the runway for Chet and see what you have. You have to take inventory before you know what you need to go get. You don't want to go trade for a forward and then 6 months down the line, you're like, oh shit, we just unloaded the clip and Ousmane Dieng is exactly what we needed.
Right? That's a great point too. We don't probably really know what we have in Oos yet. And that, I mean, he was the 11th pick in the draft. You probably got to give him a fair
They took him
amount of
ahead of J-Dub.
Yep.
It's like if you were to buy a house that you'd never seen and someone was describing the house to you, all the flaws, all the great things about it, and you start buying things to fix it up and hiring contractors, you haven't even seen it yourself. That's what it'd feel like. Like you've got to see what you got
100%.
before you start making those moves.
Now, Nick, you bring up the point of them having 4 firsts in 2024. I've said it a lot on this podcast. I've been saying this for like months now. I'm doubling down here again.
Calling yourself smart?
100%. No, I'm doubling down on this. So when I'm right, everybody knows I'm right. And when I'm wrong, we're erasing the tapes.
Right. Yes.
They can't make all those picks. Like the assumption is that this summer, Baisley's out. 2023 first rounder is in, right? But then that means next summer, you've got 4 dudes, 4 first round picks. You just going to tell 4 guys on this team to get the heck out of Dodge? There's no way. They're not going to go say, hey, Jay Will, leave. JRE, get out of here. Trey Mann, see you later.
It's hard to say that now, but we probably would have said the same thing about Teo and Veet before we had the bigger sample size.
That's true.
For all we know, or would be 18 months from now, maybe it is like see a J Will and see a JR. Maybe it is that easy.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm going on record again saying that the consolidation of picks happens this summer. Unless they land at 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless they land at 1, I feel very strongly about picks and players getting moved to climb up that draft board.
To counter you, because you were also an advocate of this concept last year, is it even worth moving up from a 12 to a 7, given all the draft history we dug into, where a lot of times the guys later in the lottery are better than the guys in the middle?
Is my turn to cop out now?
Yes.
If that's where Presty's guy's at, yes.
I knew you were going to say that.
I did too.
I trust his draft evaluations. So if the guy at 7, he's like, that's the dude, do it. I mean, let's say the Thunder make the play-in and they end up with pick number 15 in this draft. 15, 3 future firsts, and Trey to go from 15 to 8, 15 to 7. Like, pull the trigger. If that's the dude you think you bring in to kind of like complete this thing, I think you do it.
I think I prefer bites at the apple, but I don't hate the idea. I mean, think about how many guys end up being really like the Bones Highlands of the world.
Yep.
The Emmanuel Quickleys, the Jaden McDaniels that are in that 19 to 25 range. Like,
yep.
The way the drafts have gone recently, I'd almost rather have 14 in this upcoming draft and then 12, 17, 21, and 26. You get 4 bites at the apple versus like, let's consolidate all this to move up 5 spots. And I agree, Presty's a great talent evaluator, and I would trust it if he did it. But bites at the apple, given the draft last couple of years, is very attractive.
I think that's fair. I mean, it's incredibly too early to make any determinations, but like, just look at Oos and J-Dub. How sick are Thunder fans right now if Presti had drafted Oos at 11 and J-Dub went at 12 and J-Dub's doing what he's doing for another team. Like,
or if they traded up to 9 for like a Johnny Davis.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say is like, look back at the Darius Baisley drafts, even the Poku draft. And like, it's the same conversation. If Oklahoma City doesn't walk away with both of them. Now they could both end up being very, very good. That's why I said it's way too early to make a determination, but you're not wrong, Nick. The hard part is, okay, you get a bunch of bites at the apple. Where do you put them? And I think that, that's the tough part of this, but it fits the narrative that Sam Presti's laid out this whole time, which is roster exploration. You get a guy in the building, you see what he can do, you give him a run, you put him in the system, and you see what you have. Eventually, you're going to know this is a guy that's going to help us win a championship or he's not. And if he's not, even if he's a pretty good player and you really like the guy, you send him elsewhere and you bring a new rookie in who has the potential to be that guy, because potential is a hell of a drug. And I think that's going to be the conversation the next couple of years, I think.
And you got to put it in a vacuum where like the roster spot issue with having all the picks in 24. Even today, if it was like your worst pick of those 4 was 26, and you said, would you guys rather have 26 or J Will, 26 or JRE? I think we're all those kind of people that like think about the ceiling and the what if. We kind of already know what those guys are to a degree. I think everyone on this pod would say, give me 26 for that guy. Give him a spot on the roster. Let's see what he can do.
It's interesting. Eamon brings up a great question in the chat. At what time do we become too competitive for bites at the apple?
Yep.
We can't keep heavily focusing on development for too long. I think they're still going to focus on development, but at what point does the switch get flipped?
Yep. And that's where I think the consolidation makes more sense. Instead of moving up 5 spots in 23, it's consolidation for a proven player. That's a different story.
See, I'm fully on team trade up in the draft versus trade for a guy already in the league.
I think you probably end up with both. At
sure.
one point or another.
Yeah.
Right. Like what you're talking about, Jacob, probably happens sooner, but they have so many assets in the future that exactly what A-Man's talking about of like, this team's going to be too good. That's where those future draft picks for a player becomes important. And I think that's the beauty of the asset stash that Presti has at his disposal right now is you can do both.
Mm-hmm.
And you see teams every year, like the Dallas Mavericks are a good example, where they have a little bit of roster turnover and they don't really have a way to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma City for the next 5-7 years will have ways to get better. And it may not be drafting a guy at 26 with the pick they had from the Clippers in 2025 or whatever it might be, but they could flip those picks for players. Like if a Jay Crowder's out there and they're like, we want 1 first-round pick, you're like, here you go.
Yep.
That's the guy we need to be marginally better this year.
The Cavs are the perfect example here again, right? Like they were drafting at the top. They had a lot of assets at their disposal, and then they got too good to where their draft picks are not top tier talent, and they went and got Donnie Mitchell for a bunch of draft picks. Like I think something in that vein is probably what ends up happening.
I agree. It's going to be fun regardless.
Fun.
I love the idea of thinking about this team 3 years from now, pushing for a top 2 seed and a Western Conference Finals. Right. I don't think 3 years is too far out to be thinking about that. And then in the draft, you have an unprotected Clippers pick rolling in, and the Clippers, Kawhi and PG have moved on and they're too old, and you're looking at getting a lottery pick while you're pushing deep into the playoffs and layering this team. Not all the same age group, but as these guys get older, you're going to be able to layer in rookies behind them who are eventually going to grow. And so to really make this thing sustainable for the long run. Also, what's up, Taylor?
Some Thunder fanfic.
So we're talking about Patrick Mahomes and the play he made on that ankle, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Guess let's go ahead and dive into it.
How was the streaking, by the way?
Yeah, were you streaking in the neighborhood? That's what everybody wants to know.
Not for another 2 weekends from now.
Okay,
Almost said
smart.
2 weeks.
Act like you've been there.
2 weekends. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, act like you've been there. Never a doubt. I certainly wasn't anxious at all, and certainly didn't have any tweets saying otherwise. No, very excited. Very fun time. I I don't know. It was gross. It's not quite how I wanted to win that game, but survive in advance is the name of the game. Fun stuff. But I'm here not to talk about the Chiefs, believe it or not, talking about Thunder basketball.
Thank goodness.
Another very fun team right now, who does not quite have the expectations of the Chiefs, which makes it a little less stressful at the current moment. I was actually talking about that to a good friend this weekend, and it's kind of fun contrasting the two, and like comparing that to the earlier era of the Thunder. You guys were talking about the future draft picks, like the direction that Presti goes, and at the same time is trying to I kind of want to take all of this in as a Thunder fan, because I know it's not going to be long before it's like, well, why isn't Presti pushing all the chips to the middle of the table to trade around SGA, and he's wasting his talent, and why aren't they trading Shea? It's only a matter of time. So trying to enjoy this while we can.
Speaking of, that brings a question to my mind, Taylor. I think Nick had to drop out for a second with some Wi-Fi issues. So I'm going to ask you two. Speaking of expectations and just being along for the ride and how fun this season is, I don't care where the draft pick lands this year. I don't care who they draft. Okay, let's ignore that. Let's say they just bring back this exact team, but with a new rookie in place of Baisley next season, and Chet's healthy and ready to go. When we get to early October of this year, what is Vegas set the over-under line at?
Ooh, that's fun.
23.5 this year. They just won game number 24. We should have smashed that over.
I think
we should have put all the pod money on the over.
I think I literally think we said that.
I was going to say, I feel like we joked about it.
Yep. Yes. Is the over under at 40.5 next year?
I was going to say 42.
I was literally thinking 43.
Hell yeah.
That's
incredible, man.
It is incredible.
I wonder, is there a team, like when's the last team in NBA history whose projected over under jumped 20 games
barring a trade? Leave out the blockbuster trades, because I'm sure that's happened. But yeah, it's nuts. And granted, it's not a normal situation because of Chet's injury, but still, I mean, that feels like the right range to me.
I think so too, especially when you consider some of these young guys taking another leap. The J-Dubs, the Usman Jangs. Obviously, this entire team is young. But yeah, no, I'm with you, Justin.
We have a whole document of things we want to talk about, and I'm going to get us way off track here for a moment.
Your defense, it was me, but
I'm glad Nick's back as well. Nick, since you're back, we're going to ask you real quick. October 1st, 2023. I don't care who the draft pick is. We're going to assume OKC doesn't make any trades. What's the over-under on this team next year? The preseason over-under that Vegas sets. What's the line?
I'm going to go 40, which is
That's
lower.
what I said. We all said 40
so
or 43.
I think sort of like the magic of a season is a real thing. Like, we see teams every year that are like, they outperformed. Like, even though the Thunder have gotten a lot better, they might outperform what they probably should have this year. Like Isaiah Joe being bonkers from 3 and Shea averaging 31. Maybe Shea next year averages 28 and Joe shoots 41%. Like, those little things that are all happening simultaneously is hard to maintain. I think Vegas will recognize that. And even if they finish with 42 wins this year, they probably won't get 42 wins in Vegas next year.
Interesting. Okay, the tangent I was about to get on. I'm getting back to it because Taylor mentioned the name. I got other stuff we need to talk about. Jalen Williams.
Which one?
Come on.
Is a freak.
Which one.
Like, the stuff that this kid is doing as a rookie.
I think Justin said that. So I was listening to his post game from, I guess, 2 nights ago now, earlier today when I was driving to the store. And I mean, I think that's exactly the way you put it, Justin, is how is he a rookie?
What do you do with this?
Right.
I mean, it's crazy to think you drafted 4 guys and he was second to last that you picked.
Right.
It's
what I said on my pod was like, I'm running out of things to say about him because he's just so dang good. And
I think you got a
everything he
question
does.
on that show, Justin, about what is J
role.
Dub's like role.
Yeah.
I told my dad walking out of that Cleveland game, that kid starts on this team until he's no longer in this city.
Or is injured. Like,
Well, yeah, and injury aside.
And like it's very
That's it.
possible he has some sort of sophomore slump. Like I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Just like Nick was saying of like the magic of the season. But his skill set and what he does, like it makes him a little bit like recession proof, right?
Yeah.
Like he a very low or a very high floor on what I think he can do on the basketball court just because of like the variety of skills that he has. That
They are so high on him defensively too.
Yeah.
Anytime Mark talks about him, it's the growth on defense and the length.
yeah.
I mean,
Like they are obsessed with him defensively. And you can see him if you go back and watch tape from November to now, you
It's
can
night
see
and day.
the defensive progress. They had him guarding Evan Mobley
Yeah.
Friday night.
he's guarding Jabari in summer league. Like,
Dude, he's
Well, not just Evan
it's his
Mobley or
long-term
not just
position
Jabari.
at that power forward spot for OKC. I don't know. I don't think they really care about
He doesn't-
positions.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I mean, shit, we watched him guard Kristaps Porzingis, and then
Yeah.
turn around and he guards Darius Garland and Kyrie
That was
Irving.
What I
You
was going
know,
to bring up. He's going. Not. I mean, primarily guarding Evan Mobley or whoever you want to throw there at the forward spot. But then he's also guarding Darius Garland for stretches. Like it's just the versatility there is extremely exciting. Not to mention, I mean, I understand he's a quote unquote older rookie, but we talked about like Giddey being able to put on weight, and this coaching staff mentioning and training staff mentioning how I think Giddey can put weight on, but J Dub's going to be able to do the same. And so when it's all said and done, I mean, we could see him guarding 1 through 4, essentially, maybe 1 through 5. I don't know. I'm with
Now-
you there, Jacob.
I've got a
now
hot
you
one
just
for
wait
you.
until his little brother's on the team.
Right?
That's right.
Cody.
Yes,
Number
Cody.
number 6 in the ESPN Top 100.
Yeah.
Going to the
Colorado
McDonald's
commit, which is
All-American
interesting.
game.
Yeah.
And he's
Colorado's not
bigger.
known for producing one and dones, but we'll see.
He's bigger than J Dub too. He's like 6'8".
Deion Sanders is going to coach the basketball team too, Nick.
So hot take. If I had a vote for Rookie of the Year, Paulo would absolutely get it first. But I think the consensus is like Mather in at 2, and then you've got like 3 or 4 guys that are probably 3, J-Dub included, Kessler included.
And then Murray.
Murray's in there for sure. Jaden Ivey's in there for sure. But I think if you really go look at Mather and stats, yeah, he's got a bunch of points. He's taken a bunch of shots. He is horrific from a efficiency standpoint. I would argue if you like put them side to side and compare their entire games, offensively, defensively, impact on winning, facilitation, efficiency, like J-Dub is a 3-point shot away from being the second best rookie in this class so far.
Do not disagree at all.
So not hot.
He is 5th amongst rookies in points at 11.9. When you look at the top 10 in points, he is far and away the best efficiency. Field goal percentage 51.2% for J-Dub. The next closest guy, AJ Griffin, at 48.7. Yep. So he's 3 percentage points higher than anyone else in that top 10. The 3-point shot isn't great, but then you look at rebounds. He is, where does he fall on rebounds here? I'm missing him somewhere. 12th in rebounds. He is 4th in assists.
All guards and dunks.
He's tied for number 1 in steals per game. I think Tari Eason has a few more steals overall. He's number 1 of all guards in the league in dunks. I mean, Justin, you mentioned it. He does everything.
Yep.
I mean, against Cleveland, I appreciate you quoting me on the post-game pod. He sends the lawyer Dean Wade back to the shadow realm on just the most disgusting dunk I can't say the most disgusting dunk on this team all year because
Trey Mann.
Trey Mann.
bodied a man. Earlier this
eviscerated.
week.
Was it Anika Okongwu?
I can't remember who it was.
I think it was a
I think
Kongwo.
so.
Might have been
Just
Kongwo.
eviscerated that man. But I mean,
Shout out Jay Will with the nice
and then
assist.
hits-
Williams connection. Speaking of attorneys, that was a great tweet.
there you
Justin.
go. But he has that dunk, and then late in the game, he buries 2 huge threes to kind of seal the thing away. Against Atlanta, he blocks Trae Young and gets a dunk, and then in clutch time,
Strips
just
Trae.
straight just rips him and goes. I mean, it's insane how quickly he is picking things up. We knew Ousmane Dieng was going to be a project. It was going to take him a while. J-Dub, they threw him in there, and poor man, 5 minutes in, gets KO'd by a Jaden McDaniels elbow.
Right.
But he gets back, and I mean, just hits the ground like he's been like a 5-year vet.
Yep.
It's impressive. It's crazy impressive. All right. Enough gushing over J-Dub. I got us way off topic there. For the first Sunday in quite a few Sundays, we don't have a game to cover along with our weekly show. So we're going back to old reliable. The good old days, folks. Anytime I need something for the podcast and I text you guys, I'm like, hey, what are we going to talk about tonight? It's consensus.
Take it or leave it.
Let's do a take it or leave it.
This or
So,
that.
welcome back to Take It or Leave It. I have 8 statements here. I am going to read the statement. I'm going to give it to one of you 3. And you're going to tell us simply, I'm taking that thing. It's going to happen. Or I'm leaving it. It's not true. And then just kind of give us your rationality, your reason why. We can debate these as much as you guys please, to your heart's desire. We do have a bit of and around the association we got to get to as well, though. Taylor, you're last to join, so you're first on Take It or Leave It. You ready?
Ready.
I don't even know if Taylor's seen this.
You all gave me a little bit of headway with our, in typical fashion. I joined the podcast, start us down the rabbit hole. I rely on Jacob to take us all the way down, and I get caught up on the on that line. So I'm ready to go.
There you go. Taylor intentionally sabotaging the podcast so
That's
he
right.
can
To get
so he
caught
can do
up.
the homework at the last minute. Love
They
it.
call me the Patrick Mahomes of the uncontested.
Literally
Picking apart.
nobody calls you that. Taylor, take it or leave it. 3 players currently on this team will not be here at the start of next season.
Leave it. I would be very surprised if it were 3. I could see 2, but I mean, kind of the boring answer is the one that I believe the most, especially at this point. I think Baisley will be gone. They will make room for that draft pick coming in. But with Presti, you never know. For example, we thought he was going to do something similar this last draft. And, he had comments after the end of the season that they are going to turn down the opportunity to bring in really talented players that they draft. And he didn't really consolidate like we thought he was going to. So there is a world where Presti's opportunistic in this upcoming deep NBA draft. And therefore, you have to cut another player. But 3 seems pretty dramatic, unless we're including those 2 ways at the end. But assuming that we're not, I'm going to go ahead and leave it. I think it's still going to be 1, but it could be wrong. It could be 2. 3 just seems like a lot.
Fair enough. You missed the first part of the pod where we talked about when they're going to push
2 ways.
the pedal down to the floor and really push all in. I think you're with us. That's not this summer. So,
Yeah.
Nick, you get the next one. OKC, take it or leave it. OKC hosts a play-in game this season. For what it's worth, the play-in games are structured where 7 hosts 8 and 9 hosts 10. Okay, the winner
You're
of
talking
7,
host
8.
first round.
Do what?
You're talking host first round.
Yes. The winner of 7, 8 gets
Yeah.
the 7 seed.
Yep.
The winner of 9, 10 plays the loser of 7, 8
Yep. So
at
it'd be
their
away.
place.
Yep.
To see who gets the 8 seed. So the take it or leave it is the Thunder host
Got it.
a play-in game in Oklahoma City this year.
So I would put it 50-50 the Thunder make the play-in, given they'd have to be exact 7 and 9 makes it even harder. So by simple math, I'm going to leave it.
Playing the odds.
I got Nick getting logical over here. I don't like it.
Hard to do. You're banking on Thunder being 7th or 9th. Not 10th, not 8th, not 11th, not 12th, not 6th.
The correct answer is leave it because they're going to be hosting a first round playoff series, Nick.
Goodness.
Boom.
Bet me a
No.
Pluckers on that one.
No, absolutely not.
Ooh, I still haven't had that.
I had it for lunch today.
Did you?
15 of them, Baker's Gold.
Baker's
What is
Gold.
that?
It's
know.
It's like a barbecue buffalo mix, I think is what it actually is on the
Interesting.
secret sauce, but it's called Baker's Gold. It's incredible.
So it turns out Jake and I are making a road trip to Dallas this weekend.
Come
I'm
on.
intrigued. Very
Calm
intrigued.
down.
Extra wet, flats only, baby.
Easy.
Whoa.
When we were in
I like them
Vegas,
wet and flat. Nick Crane.
print the shirts.
The shirts.
For what it's worth, whenever we were in Vegas for Summer League, was it our last night, Nick? I think it was our last night. We finally found an affordable place to eat that was literally right across the street from the hotel.
White Castle?
That wasn't poutine
It was
where
next door to White
Silva eats
Castle.
everyone's food. It was this Mexican restaurant, and Nick ordered a burrito. And you know how like at a restaurant, say you're ordering like your sides, and it says
God, I know you're
potato,
going-
and then it has like the little like box and says make it loaded, and it tells you what all comes in it. Well, the burrito said make it wet.
Yes.
And so when
Love a
she
good
came
wet
over,
burrito.
Nick said, "Can I get this burrito?" And then he looked at her and said, "Make it wet." And I was just like, "God dang it, we're gonna get kicked out of this
It
restaurant."
wasn't meant to be taken that way.
Turns out.
How else do you order it?
Wet burrito.
Make
Can I
it
get that
wet.
what burrito, please?
That
Can I get
sounds
the burrito
worse.
wet?
Justin, take it or leave it. Poku returns from his injury, but plays less than 15 minutes per game.
Leave it.
For reference, he's been playing 22 minutes a game when healthy.
I leave it. Absolutely leaving it. Assuming we're talking like total kind of like balance of the season once he comes back. Obviously, probably get eased into it as all guys do. But if you look at like the latter part of when he was playing, it was 20 plus. Like some games, he played 34 minutes against Cleveland. He played 31 minutes against the Pelicans right before he was out. And a bunch of games like 22, 23, 24. His minutes were trending up. And then he would sporadically have, the 8-minute games or things like that. So I think on average, I think that's totally doable over 15. I don't feel like anybody has stolen that spot from him. Like Muskie, Kenny Hustle, Jay Will. I don't think anybody's done anything that would prevent Poku from still getting regular rotation minutes.
Interesting, because that's the reason I made this one, was they found something in playing super small.
Totally. And like, I think it's nice, but I think that you still, we've had this discussion a little bit of like, what I like about Poku, he's not Chet, but he's closer to a Chet-like piece on the floor than Kenny Hustle is. And I think for that's a very valuable thing for this team to start to get used to playing a little bit more like you're going to play next year. Obviously, again, very, very, very different players, but if you're trying to get somebody that's closer to Chet, it's obviously going to be Poku versus Kenny Hustle.
All right. That's fair.
Also, shout out to the guy on YouTube that called me out for saying Kenrich Hustle on the post game pod. I'm so sorry. My brain could not keep up with my mouth. But it sounds very formal. Kenrich Hustle.
Kenrich Hustle. First of his name.
Taylor, you get the next one. Take it or leave it. A Thunder rookie scores 30 plus in a game this season.
Oh.
In an NBA game, not a G League game.
Yeah. Dang it.
Loophole.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. I'm not going to try and get cute on this.
Wimp.
Andy Reid style in the end zone, shovel pass, cute. I'm not trying to do that. For more Chiefs analogies there. J-Dub's amazing, but he just, I don't see the Thunder, full on quote unquote repositioning, tanking towards the end of the season where we see Shea out and Lou out, and Giddy out for the same games. Even if we're just Lou and Shea or Shea and Giddy, like I don't know that even with that opportunity, J-Dub, the way he impacts the game, I mean, it's incredibly impressive, but it's not so much as a scorer. So even then, I'm not sure that he would be, the one to score 30 plus. And that's really the only one I'm seeing here that I think could get 30 plus. I think down the line, once Jang gets more comfortable and continues to develop, he maybe could as a scorer, especially from outside, but that's not going to happen this season. And those are really, the only two options we have. So I'm leaving it. I don't think either of J-Dub or Jang will score 30 plus.
I will take it, Taylor.
Who do you think?
I don't necessarily know who.
Oh, no. Yeah, you got to give me a who.
Mhm.
Can't take it and say.
Agreed.
I would. The obvious answer is Dub. Like, if someone's going to do it, it's going to be him.
Okay, so I'm kind of with you there. Like, if somebody is going to do it, I could see it being Jang, just going crazy and, like, knocking down threes. But
I would lose my damn mind.
yeah, that seems so unrealistic.
I'm going to go a step farther than Nick. I'm taking it this week.
Oh my
And
goodness.
saying Dub does it
Dub's
this
going to
week?
give the Rockets a
Rockets.
30-piece nugget.
Okay. I was gonna go more
He's going to dunk on Şengün.
late season,
And Nick won't need the blue chew.
I don't. Oh my goodness. I don't think they're gonna like
Or the wet burrito.
sit Shea or Lou the last 10 games, but like if there's 5 games left and you're out of it, you might sit them 2 of those 5
True.
for obvious reasons. If Isaiah Roby can do it, J-Dub can do it. All it takes is one overtime game.
That's a fair
where
point.
it's got like 25 points. They go into
That's a very
overtime.
fair point.
It could easily happen. I'm taking
You're
it.
making me second guess my. Okay, fair enough.
Well, that means we're
I'm
doing
still
our
leaving
job.
it. That's a fair point.
Nick, you got the next one. I don't know if Nick's the right one for this one, but he's getting it anyways. Take it or leave it. Do what? No, you get it. You get
Quit
it.
trying to back out.
This is the way we do things here. Take it or leave it. The Thunder win 40 or more games this season. For reference, per tankathon.com, there are 30 teams. That's not per tankathon.com. That's just per common knowledge. But of those 30 teams, per tankathon, the Thunder
Sources
have.
tell the uncontested. There's 30 teams in the NBA.
This is what happens when you're a hack podcast, man.
Yeah, that's right.
The Thunder have the easiest remaining strength of schedule. Obviously, we got the trade deadline coming up, which can change a lot of stuff. But the combined opponents of the Thunder for the remainder of the year, they have a 46% win percentage. That is the lowest mark in the league. The Thunder have the easiest remaining schedule, and they currently have 24 wins. So this is guessing that they will get 16 or more the rest of the way.
I will start by saying I think 40 gets you in the play-in this season. Given how mediocre a lot of teams have been, there will probably be 1 or 2 teams that say screw it and tank it out. It's so hard because it's the number. Like if you're like, how many wins does this team have this year? It's probably 40. It's like, how do I answer up or down? I will go the opposite of whatever Taylor thinks.
Oh my gosh.
Boo.
Nick
Taylor,
with
what-
all the cop-outs.
What are your thoughts, Taylor? 'Cause I'm going to go the opposite. And I'll give you my reasoning why after.
I don't think 40 seems lofty for this season. At
I
this
think
point,
they're going to do 41.
I'm really thinking 40 and a half. There's going to be a tie in there, and 4 overtimes in. No,
500 on the
38.
season, 41 and 41. Lock it in.
Ooh, that'll be 500. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I guess hashtag math, as Justin likes to say. 41 plus 41 equals 82.
Good job.
Mind blowing.
I think they
now
could-
now pronounce the top Turkish player in the entire world of basketball right now. Can you do it?
Turkish player.
Yes.
Who's the top Turkish player?
You tell me.
Alpi Şengün.
Oh, you got it right. I was expecting
Alperen. I'll be more formal.
Alperen Sengun. That's what I was expecting.
Alperen Sengun.
Singing.
Sengun.
A lot of people have like big lofty goals for their podcast. Like we want to interview Shay or we want to get Presty. I just want to get Michael Cage on here and have a game
Dude.
where we
Between
pop up
me-
a name and
Yes.
Cage and Taylor both have to pronounce it.
Oh,
And then we give
I
the
had a
actual
great-
pronunciation.
There was a college game here a couple weekends ago,
Yes.
and I had a great one. I can't remember what it was now. Dang it. What was it? Oh, the Rupert. But like his first name, somebody pronounced. I was listening to the highlights.
It's
And
like Ryan with an A. It's Raya.
yeah, but it's not actually Ryan. Like
It's
that's
like
how I would
Rayan.
obviously pronounce it.
Yeah.
Rayan Rupert.
Rupert.
Ryan Rupert.
Let's go back. Actually, Taylor and I, rabbit hole again. Taylor and I have a pod that I remember vividly. And it was when
Oh, boy.
the first report or rumblings of Oklahoma City being interested in Pokashevsky pre-draft. And
Oh yeah,
Taylor and
told
I,
you. I
before
was
the
like, no,
pod,
no, no.
were like watching highlights, like listening very closely to the announcer, trying to figure out how the hell you say it. Because if not, we would have been worse than Shaq. Alexei Pokashevsky.
Or would have been worse than that. Alex?
Pokasevetsky.
That would have been us in the
Timing.
pod. But we sounded super educated. And we're like, yeah, the Thunder into this guy,
We
Alexei
rehearsed it.
Pokashevsky.
It's incredible.
we literally
we still
it was
messed up on
amazing
the
too
pod,
because
long
it took
story
us
short.
like 3 different because at that point like Poku's borderline unknown. I
Yeah.
think it was PD Webb. Shout out PD Webb. It's like the only one who really was kind of on it at that point. And so we went through like 2 different highlight videos before we actually got to one where we could hear, and then we finally got to one that was fully, I mean, a completely different language, but we could just pick up his name.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Alexei.
And we still butchered it. We still butchered it.
It was fun. Good times.
So Nick, you're going 41 wins?
41 wins, baby.
Homer.
I actually think that's like a legit possibility.
It's definitely a legit possibility.
Oh, yeah. There's no question it's a legit possibility.
This team is so damn fun.
They
I
are.
just have a blast watching them. Justin, you are next. Take it or leave it. OKC gets another regular season game flexed onto national TV. NBA TV does not count as national TV. We're talking
Agreed.
ESPN, TNT.
I'm leaving it
Aw.
because we know the schedule's softer in the second half. Compelling matchups are not as plentiful. I did, while Nick and Taylor were talking about how to pronounce names, do a brief look through of like games on those national TV nights that could get picked up by ESPN or TNT. Not stellar. And honestly, the best ones came during March Madness, in which TNT doesn't do their Thursday night
Interesting.
broadcasts. So there was a game in the Clippers against the Clippers
Analysis.
that I was like, that could maybe, but no. So I'm leaving it. I think they deserve it. Their next national TV appearance will be in the play-in, obviously.
Give me Tuesday, March 7th against the Dubs
Oh, okay. See that?
Okay.
in Paycom.
Give us your reasoning.
It's a Tuesday.
That's
It's
well
TNT
said.
night.
Club going up.
Let me pull it up
On
because this is what I was
Tuesday.
doing during
It's the Dubs.
the monologue.
I would
earlier.
have leaned towards the Tuesday Nets game.
Here's
I was
what's
also
on-
considering that one.
here's what's
KD
on
might be
tap.
healthy.
You guys
That's
are missing it
NOKC.
all.
Kevin Durant coming back. I could see it.
Jacob, you might be on something with March 7th. You know what's slotted for the early game on March 7th?
I'm ready.
Philly and Minnesota.
The only other guaranteed national TV game. If LeBron
Yeah,
Gets
damn it.
hurt.
You're
That's a
taking
great
it.
point.
Tuesday, February 7th,
I had this lined up. And I was letting you guys
In
throw out all your
the
hypotheticals.
crypto.com arena. That would be on every
Yeah.
station.
And that's
on
even
Earth.
more likely. The reason I was going to bring it up is because today he was ruled out. Him and AD were ruled out against the Nets. So
I would love that game to be the game.
LeBron, shout out Thunder Focus. Him and I follow each other on Twitter, but he had a really good tweet that I think kind of puts it into perspective. LeBron would have to average 39 points in his next 3 games to break it before he plays OKC. And that, yeah, you would assume that one gets slotted in. Even if it's, okay, maybe I'm cheating a little bit here. Even if it's not TNT, ESPN would potentially pick it up if it were a non-TNT game. So I think that could be a nationally televised game for the Thunder.
How many points away is LeBron?
It's like 140 something
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's see.
right there. I think it's in the
Man.
140s.
I'll look it up.
That's,
You guys can go on and I'll.
That's
I think the odds are that he breaks it against OKC.
really?
I think that's where it's at because, like Taylor said, since he's out, he's got to average 39 to break it before the OKC game. I don't think he's going to average 39.
He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 games before. Oh my!
So 5 games, roughly
That's
150
good.
points. That's 30 a night.
It'll never top the Samaj Krishan corner 3. Nothing. will ever top
Legendary.
Dude,
It'll-
it
chances
would be
are it'll
really
be the
cool if he
game
broke it against
After.
OKC, though. Tim Duncan's final game ever.
117 points away from Abdul
117?
Jabbar. That's crazy.
117.
Oh, wow.
That's what this says.
He could get there.
He
Yahoo.
could get there for sure before.
But like Tim Duncan played his final game in Oklahoma City.
Kobe's last road game.
Kobe's last road game in Oklahoma City. This one wouldn't be in Oklahoma City, but against Oklahoma City, the scoring record is broken.
So this actually leads us into my next segment. Mahomes,
Oh my
LeBron,
God.
the comparisons.
Gosh.
I'm about to kick you off this podcast.
I'm about to root for the Eagles.
I would say the same.
That
but I
sounds
can't.
about as bad as being a Cowboys fan. Oh, well.
Okay, the last one. All three of you can have this one. You can fight over it. Take it or leave it. OKC
Fight over
ends this season with a top 10 net rating in the league.
Ooh,
For reference, I'm pulling it up right now.
thank you.
They are 13th in net rating at a positive 1.1. 12 is the Jazz at 1.5. 11 is the Pelicans at a 1.5. 10 is the Suns at a 1.5. 9 is the Knicks at a 1.6. And then after that, it's a pretty large leap to the Bucks at 2.2.
Leave it.
No way. There's no way. They'd have
Look
to be
at
like
Taylor's
they'd have
face.
to
He
be-
wants to take it
they
so
would have,
bad.
they would have to be so. I mean, like we're talking, like right now the Pelicans, like it's on a per game basis, so it's like a plus point whatever. But like holistic on the season, the Pelicans are 20 points above. So it would take like blowouts and or the Pelicans being horrible. And there's other teams between there and above there. Like the Thunder have to be, they'd have to win every game the rest of the way by 10 to offset every loss. That's tough.
Hey,
If the
I
whole
will-
49 games in, they're a plus 57, and the margin between them and 10 is another 20. That's hard to do. You got to be
How
better
do you
than
all
you've been
know
today.
that in the month of January, the Thunder have the highest net rating at plus 8.7. But I'm still
Yeah,
leaving
so
it.
if they play the way they did in January, they're winning the title.
That's right.
Do we
Exactly.
think that's happening?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, no,
Buy your
I'm
stock
with you all.
now.
That's honestly, I think that's
Call
pretty good
pass.
over under. But I'm still going under.
I mean,
All right.
I would bet you in the history of the league, there's not been a top 10 net rating team that's not made the playoffs.
I was going to
And
say
the Thunder are
if
making the
that-
playoffs, Nick.
That was a question I was going to flip.
Get on
like,
the damn boat, my
Trying
guy.
to keep up.
If the Thunder do end up with a top 10 net rating in the league by season's end, where do you all think they would end up in the seeding in the West?
7.
6 or 7 probably.
I was gonna, I was gonna say 7 or 8.
Have to.
Or, Jacob, what are they
But look
net
like
rating
it-
in the West right now?
What are they, what?
Probably already 6, 7. What are they in the West right now?
Record wise or
For the
net rating
season?
wise?
Net rating wise.
Oh, now you're gonna have to make me like.
I
hit
know
all
we're
these
gonna
filters.
I'll
really
do
go
it.
down
I'll
rabbit
do it.
holes.
I'll do it.
I don't even know how to do this.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna go.
Conference. Here we go. West.
Oh,
Oh, that's really hard.
That's what she said. The Thunder are currently 11th in the West.
Wow. That
Oh
means
wait. No, that's win loss. I didn't sort it. 7th. 7th.
7th.
Okay.
But so 7th, but
To
we're
drop to 8th. 8th is the Timberwolves at
tied for, like,
0.5.
13th. Okay.
And they got a hefty
Huh.
margin between 7 and 8 actually. So, I mean,
What a weird season though. Like
It
that's
is
just how
very
jam
weird.
packed the West is.
The West is
the
insane.
Jazz are right above them.
The Jazz could be
So
sellers
basically,
too.
trade deadline. We need to like revisit all of this.
Yeah.
Um,
Trade deadline's gonna be interesting.
Very.
It's in, 11 days?
I can't wait to see him trade David Nwaba. I really wonder where he's going to end up at.
Those hacks.
All right. Before we move on to Around the Association, we got to make some predictions for this next week. 3 games on the docket. We already know what Nick's projection is with his intro, but we still got to get which games are which. Monday night tomorrow versus the Golden State Warriors, who are 5-5 in their last 10. Dubs are 6-18 on the road coming into Oklahoma City, and they're currently 1 game ahead of OKC in the standings. So a win would put them tied, but the Thunder would have the tiebreaker, so we'd actually be ahead by 1. What happens tomorrow night in the Paycom Center, gentlemen?
I don't have the data to support this, but I feel like the Thunder play really well when they have a jam-packed schedule and they have the young, fresh legs, just keep running, carry momentum. I feel like when they have these like weird, awkwardly long break periods, which they have a lot of in the back half of the schedule, which is part of the reason their schedule is so easy. I feel like the last couple of times they've had 2-3 days off, they've come in very flat because of that. That's eye test, not stats. You could tell me they're 4-1 with 2 days of rest, and I wouldn't be shocked. But the eye test, or what I remember, tells me they look flat. So I'm going to say they lose to the Dubs.
I'm taking the Dubs as well.
For what it's worth, Lou Dort's ruled as out currently.
Yeah. Lou Dort's out. Giddy and JRE were at the Chiefs game today. Clearly not focused.
Getting hammered on the sidelines.
That's right.
My boys.
JRE has been nursing that ankle.
That's right.
How long
what?
he's been out, I'm surprised they haven't gone to amputation yet.
Speaking of ankles, if Mahomes got hurt
dang
again.
it, Taylor.
No, hey, if Mahomes got hurt again.
It was my fault for saying Chiefs.
Best quarterback on the sidelines? Shout out Chad Henne. Love my guy Chad Henne. Anything is possible. However, it would have been Josh Giddey that I would have wanted to be pulled out.
That is very true. Taylor, you taking a win or a loss against the Dubs?
I mean, like Nick, I'm going to get very analytical here. Taylor is covering the postgame podcast, and therefore I'm going with the dub. The dub against the Dubs.
Oh, I like it. Thunder win. I cannot wait for Kenrich Williams versus Draymond Green.
Yes.
True.
That's gonna be a fun matchup.
I'm not looking forward to these Rockets games.
I'm doing it. I'm taking the win.
So we're split.
Give it to me. They're gonna beat the Dubs. The next game is Wednesday down in Houston against the Rockets. The Rockets won this last matchup, 118-105. They are 2-8 in the last 10, and they have the worst record in the NBA. Nick, what happens down in Houston?
Okay, this is really tough. I'm Googling their injury report because like they've played nobody recently. Like KPJ's out, Şengün's been out, Jalen Green's been out. It says Jalen Green and Şengün are day to day. So I assume young guys will be healthy by, what is it, Thursday for that game? Wednesday. I think they'll play. Rockets have been like the weird kryptonite. Like, not that the Thunder have been good the last few years, but like the Rockets like smacked them by 30 last year. So I'm gonna take the Rockets. I'm gonna get ahead of your question. The Rockets beat them the first night, but their coaching situation is a circus, and they will not make any adjustments going into the second game. So they split that. Rockets the front end, Thunder win the back end.
So I'm just gonna piggyback off of that.
Nick Taylor, before you go, real quick, timeout. The Thunder are currently 24-25. And Nick opened the show by saying, this is the week the Thunder go 500.
Yeah.
And then he just projected them to go 1-2.
Yeah.
Math, Nick. Math.
I was lumping, so I'm lumping in the second Warriors game because it goes Warriors, Rockets, Rockets, Warriors.
Well,
so
that Warriors game isn't until next Monday, is it not?
Okay, maybe I was thinking like
yeah, it's not a Sunday game.
Okay,
I see what you were thinking.
The next 8 days.
Yeah.
When I look ahead at the week, it's like Monday to Monday. Okay.
If they go 2-2, they're still not 500, Nick. That would put them at 26-27.
Then it's not the week they go 500. I'm going against my own intro. Then
I was told there would be no math.
Now that I'm thinking through it, like
God bless.
I don't drink, but Justin, I might need you to send me some of that.
So you're telling me they can beat the Kryptonite Rockets twice.
No, you were telling us that, Nick.
I was gonna say, are you talking to Nick from like an hour ago, or
Well,
golly.
I can't do math. It
because
hurts.
I was about to piggyback off of you, but nothing analytical.
So next week's the week they go 500.
Next
And I'm gonna
week.
open the pod next week the exact same way.
This is the week they go 500.
The
That's
exact
just
And then
become
a
your
week later.
standard open.
every week.
This
Every
is the
week.
Nick, this is
This
the
is
week.
the week. This is the week.
Nick, you've been looking for your intro. I have what's
We
up.
have it.
Silva has fellas.
Yes.
Taylor has hello.
Wild card.
Justin has
Taylor.
hello, everybody.
Whoa.
Taylor doesn't
has,
have
like,
anything.
I have the
Monologue.
wild
Taylor,
card.
it's because Taylor shows up
17
late every single show. He doesn't. He's like
Exactly.
Kadarius Tony. He's never
Fashionably late.
reliable.
So that's your new intro, Nick.
love it.
No,
We've solved it.
I gotta
It'll be
find
week
something
one
cooler.
of next season. It'll be like, this is the week the Thunder go 500.
I got
Justin,
down- I
what
got down to
happens in the
logic.
Houston game, Justin?
They beat the Rockets because they suck.
Taylor?
I think they'll go 1-1 against the Rockets also, but not because I don't know. They just typically seem to play down to the Rockets every time. I think they'll do that first game. In the second game, they'll come out, play normal Thunder basketball, and beat them by probably 20.
All right. Nick and Taylor are like my students who like try to get
We're
ahead of the
teacher
game.
pets.
They look at the
Are you
slides
saying
before
your
I go
students
over.
don't know math
No, well, that's also true.
and can't pronounce
Hey,
words?
Teaches history. Not
So,
English.
Justin,
You
you're
need
the only
teaching
one who
reading
followed
and
the
math
assignment.
with this podcast.
Yeah. Don't tell Ryan Walters my kids can't read and do math.
Easy.
True.
Justin, what happens in the second Houston game?
They win because the Rockets suck.
Thank you. Justin and I are on the same page this week. We're going to get to this podcast
Rockets
next
bad,
week.
Thunder good.
Thunder
basketball.
4-0, baby. They're going to be on a 4-game winning streak.
Hey, if that
For-
happens, we're
for the
talking
record, I
about
had
7th
them-
or 8th in the
I
West.
had them losing to the Warriors.
Oh, you did.
Oh.
You coward.
The Thunder reach 500 when they play the Lakers, and LeBron breaks the record as they lose by 20.
Wait, did you say
That will
4-0?
actually- they're going to be on a 4-game win streak
Oh, I was like,
after beating
it's
Cleveland
like,
on
come
Friday.
math.
I love that. The LeBron breaks the record, but the Thunder get the win on national TV, and
What-
Shea
that's-
outplays LeBron.
That's such a Lakers outcome this
That
season.
would be,
really
and
is.
they lose by like 19.
Mhm.
And LeBron
They
breaks the
lose.
record
They lose
with
on
like
a missed
3
call.
minutes left on a free throw.
In garbage
Dort
time.
fouls
Yes.
LeBron last
God, I love
second,
that.
but doesn't get called.
Put it in my veins.
That'd be
Shea drops
hilarious.
40 in the crypt. Yes.
Crip.
All right, let's take a break because we've got an hour.
We need it. We need
Let's
it
get an
badly.
ad read in here real quick. And then on the other side, I had a lot of around the association. We got to trim this bad boy so we're not on this podcast for 2 hours.
I'm never
So-
allowed to join the podcast after a
Mhm.
Chiefs win ever again.
No.
We'll be back in just a moment. And we are back. It's time to go around the association.
I don't even know where you sitting at.
Gentlemen, All-Star starters got announced. Shea got robbed. But is there one that came off as a massive surprise to you? Anybody on those starting teams that you were just like, what?
I would go. Zion was kind of surprising.
Zion
Yeah,
was
man.
a surprise, I
He
think.
hasn't played.
Mhm.
I mean, for the most part, at the end of the day, being a starter is like this new weird wrinkle and like a cool achievement. Like you don't get a trophy for that. You can't go to the basketball reference page and be like, he was an all-star 19 times and he started. It's not a thing. It's just like this new weird quirk to get fans excited and pissed and engaged. At the end of the day, they're going to have the same number of all-stars and they're all going to be on the same playing field and they're all going to have the same chance at MVP. It's like, who actually cares?
Touche.
Hey, that was Shea's post game response to it, I guess, when he was asked about it.
Yeah. Is it bad to say I was surprised by Kyrie?
No.
Because I was a little surprised by Kyrie.
I was surprised
For-
the media voted him
for-
so high.
For off the court reasons or for actual on court production in the vacuum?
Both?
Yeah.
He's been good
pretty damn
recently.
good this year.
Recently, he's played really well.
Recently, exactly. Yes.
And when was
I
voting?
thought he'd be an all-star, no doubt.
When was voting?
True.
Recently.
That's fair. That's
yeah.
fair.
Last month, which is when the voting's
Yeah.
been. Like
True.
if you're gonna go for an all-star, I think you'd rather be good in January and late December than you would be like October and early November.
Yeah. Agreed.
Recency bias is a real thing.
Very true.
That's why Darius Baisley put a sock in Jacob's mouth.
Dude.
Congrats, Baze. He played pretty good again against Cleveland. Good job, Baisley. The league has finally done something smart with the All-Star game
Yes.
and decided to pick the teams 30 minutes before tip-off.
They're not.
You don't think so? Are you a conspiracy theorist?
Nick is 100 a conspiracy theorist.
It's not for conspiracy theory reasons. Like
it will probably happen like 30 minutes before on the broadcast.
But why?
I know.
I think
it's
for
perfectly lined up.
merch reasons. Like so,
Nah, they're selling both jerseys right
so if
now.
you go to
Nick.
NBA.com and I wanted to
pre-recorded.
buy Donovan Mitchell.
They have
Do
them
I
both.
do I buy a blank color? And
No,
they ship
have-
me the one that he is?
They're selling both right now.
That's
Go
You can
look
buy
at
either
stupid.
one.
That's
LeBron,
stupid.
Doncic,
Why would
everybody.
why would I buy the blue
I actually
jersey if
saw
he was
that
on the
today.
yellow team?
But it like so
cool
I was thinking
collector's
about
item.
it. I was thinking about it. Like it kind of makes sense. Like if I'm a Lakers fan, give me that yellow LeBron. Who cares what he wears in the game? Like it
I
looks
do.
cooler
You pick your favorite
because I'm a
jersey.
Lakers fan. Same
So-
thing for
so
Luka.
think
Give me
about-
the blue one.
Think about like there's a Russell Westbrook, I think it was like a rookie sophomore jersey, the purple one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? You're a uniform guy.
Yes.
That's a badass jersey.
With the cacti. on
Imagine
it.
going
Phoenix.
online
I was gonna say it was in
and-
Phoenix.
and you're like on eBay trying to get that jersey and they have it. But it's the sophomore jersey. That doesn't make any sense.
That's different.
No,
That's
it's
different.
not.
It is different because they didn't pick teams on the floor in that game, Nick.
That's so dumb.
I don't think they're the way they worded it makes me think that they aren't going to. Pick
So
them
the
on the
first
floor.
year that they like did these kind of like generic uniform templates for the All-Star game, they had the black and white ones. Remember that?
You
Yep,
saying
I-
generic
I
as in
like-
they're
I
bland?
have a Russell Westbrook
I
one
am.
back there.
I am
black-
too.
Black and white with the giant team logo
Yeah,
on the chest,
yeah,
and that
yeah.
was it. They sold both colors for every player
Did
in
they?
that year too.
You would
And
know.
next
I mean,
year
I
they
trust
would
you on
know.
that.
similar. It was just, or was it the year before? That was West, East, and they had
Yeah.
just the red and the blue. I
Yeah,
guess that was the year
like-
before.
Yep.
But
Anyway, they're picking on the court.
Okay,
and it's
so
the
here's
best
my
decision they've ever made.
Here's my actual argument to
reversible
that.
jerseys.
So
I didn't know Nick felt so strongly about this.
Put them
It's
shirts
I
and
just-
skins. Let's
Okay, so I'm hopefully going to be in Salt Lake, and they have all-star practice and all this stuff, right? Are they just going to practice everybody together, not knowing
Yeah,
who's on
yes.
the team?
It's not like they practice anything. They're
Exactly
not
what
running
I was gonna
sets.
say.
Every all-star game, you see their first play is like this cut backdoor lob for a slam dunk for the guy that was in the home.
You can still do that.
Correct.
But
I
Yeah,
can draw that up in the tunnel.
I do agree.
they don't need to practice. These are professionals.
I'm not saying the practice means anything, but like that's a big part of All Stars. Like you get to know the guys on your squad,
Get
and
to
like
know everybody.
I could be wrong, and I've done no research to support this, but this is America, and that's what we do. I feel like they already practice together. Like, am I wrong?
they might. I've never been to an All Star practice. They
kinda
very
think
well
that-
could. They very well could.
I feel like I saw a video from last year, and like I think both teams practice together. Anyway,
I just think about the most iconic videos are like Shaq having the big 19 size shoe with the cell phone built in, handing it to Allen Iverson, and AI coming in that year with the buzz cut and the like. Those are all like you're on your specific teams and you're like getting to know those guys. It's like
It'll
that's
be
cool.
Nick is so resistant to change.
well, maybe.
I think it is awesome that they are picking the teams on the floor. Make it pickup style. Whoever gets picked last,
yes,
that's going to be so awkward.
I
James
think
Harden.
it'll be very evident by the
Can it be
reactions on
James
the
Harden
player's
again?
face. If you see these BS like trying to be actors, like oh I didn't know it, you'll know very quickly. These guys are basketball players, not actors. We
Somebody
will
will
know.
leak it.
We
Yeah.
will know.
So-
yeah, shams. 3 hours before the game, tweets out the rosters,
Sources
Yes.
say the first
Team
pick.
LeBron roster has been finalized.
and you're like, okay, this is fake.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I wanted us to do the drafting of the teams. We can do that next week.
Yes.
Actually, next week's pretty packed because next Sunday is the
Is
Sunday before the
trade week,
deadline. We might do it next week. We might do it the week after. Who knows?
If it will do it
So
live.
I'm just going to ask you guys 2 questions for picking the All-Star teams on the court. We currently do not know who the reserves are, but we can probably guess. I mean, the fan voting is pretty telling. Question number 1. So the 2 captains, before I get to question 1, sorry. 2 captains, LeBron, Giannis. Question number 1, who picked Shea? Because we know Shea's on his way. Hey, if you're listening to this podcast, they're going to announce Shea as an all-star reserve on Thursday. If I were you, very shortly after that, I would look at the uncontested Twitter account.
Indeed.
So you can get some heat.
Heat.
Justin has been cooking in the lab with some fire.
Oh,
We've also got another special edition shirt about
I
to
was
drop.
gonna say we got all kinds of merch.
Hey, that Goonies shirt, Justin.
Yeah,
solid.
it's amazing.
I need that. I need that crew neck.
Get you
bad.
one.
So we got 2 Shea All-Star designs ready to go. You're going to want to snag these things. They are clean. So, LeBron, Giannis. Question number 1, who picked Shea? Question number 2, which guy gets picked last? Of all the
Ooh.
All-Stars, who was the last pick?
Oh, that second
That
one's
insinuates
tough.
you can figure out who the actual all stars are.
I know.
right?
Yeah.
I think Shea goes Team LeBron.
Yeah. I
I
think
think the
LeBron.
opposite.
Really?
Usually, like LeBron, I feel like, again, this is without research, like Justin said. I feel like LeBron usually takes like the high flying, big name. They're like, oh my gosh, Team LeBron's 3 times better. And Shea's like, let's be real, he's an incredible player. He's not the flashy all-star guy. He's not going to be doing alley-oop, dunk, half court, 3. Like he's the anti that. I'm going to drive on you and make a layup. I think he's Team Giannis.
I think Team LeBron as well. He's gonna be, man, that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He's been so good this season, and
LeBron
you know,
is smart guy NBA. 100%.
exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna get him hooked up with my guy Mav.
Which color shirt
Carter.
goes
Oh,
to which captain? Do we know?
I don't think we know yet.
Justin, you're the merch guy. Which jersey is cooler, and which one would you rather see SGA in as a follow-up to that obvious first answer?
They both suck.
Oh,
Blue. I would want the blue one. I think the blue is slightly more attractive because the gradient.
Thunder blue.
Yeah, and Thunder Blue, like that's nice. It's still not. It's just all bad.
Yeah, they aren't great.
All right, who's the last pick?
Draymond.
Draymond's not making it.
No, we're not making the All-Star team. No way.
Oh,
If he did, he'd be the last pick.
I've got to see the final voting results because that was from what we saw, and it's like it's math again, which I'm not good at apparently.
Maths.
it'll be somebody like
the guys that won the All-Star vote. I think the only player that wasn't top 2 on the guards or top 3 on the forwards in fan voting, like that was actually like boom, 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 all the way down the board. Like the guys that were in that top slot
We're the ones that got there.
got
I think
there.
the only one is Anthony Davis, I think.
I think that was like Zion over Anthony Davis is like the one. So if we're going off that logic and we're looking at the guys that will likely make it based on that and media and fan vote, I'm going to say Trae Young last pick.
oh, Trae Young's a good one.
I think DeMontis Sabonis makes it. He'll be last pick.
All right, I'll go east then since you guys went west. I'll
went
say
east.
Bam Adebayo will be last.
I disagree on Domas. I'm still dwelling on that.
I think
Jacob.
people
disagree
like,
on
this
Domas
dude's
making it?
balling out.
No.
I think they'll take him earlier.
Yeah, I agree.
He's been really, really good.
Yeah.
He has
Yeah.
been really
I
good.
could see him getting slept on and not getting.
He's like doing Jokic stuff.
He's awesome, dude.
Right?
He's so good. He's so good.
Imagine him on this Thunder team, which is
He'd
fun.
fit
because-
perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
But you wouldn't have Paul George, which turned into we all know the story.
I
I think I'm with you, Nick. Trae Young. Because I was trying to find the chart.
The player votes.
The player vote on Trae
He
Young
got
was rough.
shit on the player votes.
Mhm.
He was like the 12th guard in the East,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here we go.
Nobody likes
Pulling
Trae.
it up.
Eastern Conference guards.
12th. Yeah. 12th in player rank,
Yes,
5th in
yes.
fan vote, and 6th in
The,
media.
the players say that Trae Young is the 12th best guard in the East. They
Yeah.
say LaMelo Ball is better. They say Jalen Brunson is better.
Yeah.
Dog.
I'm with
They
you.
ain't picking him. If that's what the players think,
Yeah. No, you're right. I agree. Nobody likes playing with Trae. It comes from an OU fan.
comes from a
Indeed.
horrific school.
Justin knows.
All right. I think it's time for us to get out of here. We've been podcasting for an hour and 15 minutes.
God bless anyone that's still listening.
Yeah. Shout out to you guys. Tons of awesome questions in the chat. We just don't have time to hit them tonight. But yeah, Nick, it's time to start learning those lyrics to Smash Mouth's All Star because you owe me a bet payoff.
I'm gonna do it so subtly that you'll never even know it happened.
Oh no, I'm going to like be playing the pod at half speed just to ensure that you got the
I'm
entire
gonna
thing.
stretch it out over.
And
like
I'll be in the
4
background just eating my
pods.
rotisserie chicken.
I don't know if the language in our contract agreement said it had to be 1 pod.
Oh,
I'm gonna stretch it out over
Contract.
multiple.
I'll go back and listen.
I will too.
I'll
Right.
see what we had.
Boo.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the Uncontested Podcast. We really appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Like we said, chat was hopping. Tons of people in the live stream. Speaking of the live stream, we are in the double digits of followers or subscribers needed until we hit that 1K mark on the YouTube channel. Make it happen. That's incredible. That's a massive milestone for me. When we started this thing, we never even thought about putting it on YouTube. So to know that we're almost to 1K subs is stupid. And it's so cool. So thank you guys so much for tuning in live. If you listen to the podcast version, make sure to subscribe to our show wherever you get your pods. Drop that 5-star rating. Write a little something if you want. Write a little review. Call out Nick's math. That'd be a good review. But that just both of those things just help the algorithm get us out to more people. So that would be incredible. We would really appreciate that. In 24 hours, you guys will be hearing from Tayler Peterson after the Thunder beat the Golden State Warriors.
Knocked on wood.
500 this week.
500 this week. I believe, I don't know who has the Wednesday game against Houston.
I think I do.
And then I think Justin has the Saturday game against Houston. So we've got you covered for every post game this week. Next Sunday is a big show here as we will be only 5 days away from the NBA trade deadline. So it's going to be a fun trade-filled show league-wide and maybe cooking up some Thunder trades.
Yeah. Get your OG and Anobi trades ready.
If I have to
friends.
cover a Wednesday loss to the Rockets, that one may not go live, folks. That may hit your streams out of nowhere.
We will see you guys in 24 hours. If you're in Oklahoma or like anywhere in America at this point, really, stay warm because it is a cold boy out there. Fingers crossed for another snow day,
J-Dub
my
out
guys.
there.
Fingers crossed. We will talk to you guys soon. Until then, as always, Thunder up.